And we're rolling. This is really good. What do you got?
I have The Shadow, Dynamite number 11.
See, I was reading the Django Unchained. This is really good. Jay, have you read this one?
Haven't read that one.
Man, it's really good. It's based on the motion picture.
I think it was good considering you were just...
Oh, hey, look who's here. I didn't even
look at
see
that.
the entire audience of the DELoL show. Hey, guys. We didn't see you standing over there. Oh, this is great because I was going to tell you that May 4th, I believe, we're here at Keith's Comics on Mockingbird. We're going to be here for Free Comic Book Day.
It's like even better than Christmas. It's Free Comic Book Day.
What time are we going to be here?
We will be broadcasting from 1 to 2:30. Oh, no, it's 1 to 3:30. We give them an extra hour instead of just a 1 hour show.
So do you have to sit through 1 to 3:30?
2 hours.
May 4th, Saturday, Free Comic Book Day.
Costume contest, 3 p.m. Everybody come out in your most excellent costumes. There'll be some DC characters out here, Two-Face, Riddler, Nightwing, and then we're trying to round up a few more surprises for you guys. So show up in your costumes so you can be judged and win some awesome prizes from Keith.
And if you feel like being judged on just your personality, I'll be there to do that too. So guys, make sure you come out on Free Comic Book Day, May 4th from 1 to 3:30 at Keith's Comics on Mockingbird. Catchphrase. Tell us a little bit about what you're reading, Jay.
It's Invincible number 100. Invincible, the best comic in the world. I think that's its actual title. Yeah, best superhero comic in the universe. And it lives up to it. So, pick up Invincible today at Keith's Comics. That's right, I plugged it.
I'll stop by there. Hey, Keith, I'll stop by tomorrow.
A long time since I heard it.
WTF is Chocolate Rain?
I shared these the other day, the new Back to the Future ice cube trays. That's actually pretty cool.
I'll just throw a box back here. Yeah. Thanks for checking in with me, though.
And now is our darkest hour for the
Steven, tell us a little bit about Keith's Comics.
It's an awesome store, pure and simple. Everything to do with comics and plus some. Action figures, paraphernalia, even back issues and collector items. In fact, Keith here is the one that got me back into comics. Made me spend money. But it's a great place. They're awesome. Enough said.
Hey Keith, I want to say thanks for having us out here. Free Comic Book Day.
Oh, love
It's a
having you
lot of fun. It was hot as hell outside.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, I found my free comics.
Oh.
And I was going to tell you.
No. It's Free Comic Book Day. They make special editions for the day. This is the first print Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Not going to happen.
It's not free?
Not today, no.
Okay. Well, I found this was probably a pretty good one, too.
No. They're special editions made just for the day. Not just any comic. This is the first appearance of the new X-Men. That's not going to happen either, big guy.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, if I wanted to buy them, then I can still buy them for Comic Book Day,
sure,
right?
of course,
How much is the Turtles one? I'll take this.
Well, it's only $2,000.
Right. Okay. Well, when did you hire Bigfoot to work here?
What? Bigfoot? Hey!
Guys, congratulations. If you're fans of the show, Dr. What? God, what is it again? Doctor Who. If you're fans of the show Doctor Who like I am, you're going to really enjoy today's show. Today we got Cosplay Gallifrey in studio, along with special guest host, Caitlin Glass. Caitlin, say hello to the people at home.
Hello.
When I say to.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Thanks a lot.
No problem.
I'll talk when I want.
This is why I like the next story. Yeah, I'm done. Go
Hi,
ahead.
I'm Caitlin. Hi, people at home.
Today's the Caitlin Glass Show. So today we're going to be talking for the DFW Cosplay Gallifrey. James, you want to give a little hint at what we're going to be doing today? What y'all are about?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about costuming and Doctor Who's 50th anniversary and all kinds of stuff. Crossplay. I don't know. All these events we got coming. They're going to be really, really, hopefully awesome.
So obviously it's going to be a real fun show today. Of course, like always, around 2:25 we're going to have the Cosmic Herald Weekend Comics brought to you by Cosmic Comics, and well, I guess there's not much to lead into with the show today. So I say, why don't we kick it off? So roll to play, and Cosmic Comics presents the DELoL show. Sit back and enjoy the theme song, assholes. Guys, we're back with what? I'm not getting anything in the sound. Yeah, I'm not getting anything. Can anybody else hear this?
I can hear you.
Okay, there we go. Maybe mine's just a little down. Well, you know what? That was a bit, and it didn't go over that well. Sorry, people at home. That was supposed to be a funny joke, and it didn't work. Guys, in studio today, we have the Cosplay Gallifrey. So, James Enlow, you're the infamous leader of this group. It kind of seems like.
Actually, I'm the face, but I'm not. The man to my next to my right is actually the current leader. I just shove my nose in everybody's face a lot. And they say, "Oh, you must be leader," and I'm like, "Yeah, no."
And so, Chris, what does being a leader entail? Make sure you get up on that mic there. Yeah.
Really, it's coming down to just organising with my fellow officers, events and ideas, and just trying to get this thing off the ground, especially for what we've got coming up with the 50th.
Now, a really important question. Is that a TARDIS bow tie?
Yes, it is.
I tried to buy one of those 2 years ago, and they sold out. Did you buy that before I could?
I believe it was the last one that was left.
I wanted that so bad. I go back, and it was gone. So, it's okay. So what was Gallifrey do?
Okay. Well, as you know, at Alcon about 2010. Two individual groups sort of appeared at that con. One of them was this really strange little, some kind of photographic company called Neither Noir. Anyway, and there was also 3 or 4 character guys in Doctor Who costumes at that con, right? And you guys were shooting up all cosplay, shooting up pictures, and you took our pictures. And at that time period, I just got obsessed, and because Doctor Who was fresh.
Who's I is? He one of the other members of the group?
No, me.
Oh, okay.
I was obsessed. I was
going to write his name.
I grabbed every person I could find who was wearing a Doctor Who costume, and I said, "Let's start a group." And I got a bunch of, I don't know, maybe, and
Now, if I remember, I'm the one that said, "Hey, you want to round up all the people?" So in a way, I'm the creator of Cosplay Gallifrey.
That's so not true.
Right. I like the idea of Overlord. Let's stick with that.
I'm the master.
I definitely want to say the amazing thing is that Neither Noir is sort of integral to how the group got put together.
That is interesting because I had no idea about that.
Yeah, and so I grabbed him. I put up a Facebook page really quickly, and then from Facebook page we bumped from like 4 members, 5 members to I brought my best friend in, and then we had 127 almost overnight.
Now I got to ask y'all too. How long have y'all been best friends?
2006.
2008.
Okay, 2008.
Do y'all solve mysteries together? Because I always assume best friends solve mysteries together.
Absolutely.
I've seen a lot of TV. So
we've done Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
In fact, I wouldn't have. We've done a Sherlock Holmes and Watson cosplay. But anyway, I wouldn't have actually watched Doctor Who if not for him. And because I thought Doctor Who was this weird little thing they watched on, that they ran late at night on PBS, where some guy in a scarf walked around and acted all pompous. And
now you are the guy in the scarf.
And now I am the guy in the scarf.
That's right. Yeah. To be honest, when people were talking about Doctor Who, this was up until recently. I always started watching it. I'm not joking. I thought it was a medical show, a BBC medical show.
Yep.
And I was under the impression it was like a St. Elsewhere type show. And so I had, and I've always enjoyed the Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, this very episodic, space-time oriented alternate dimension. So it was very weird that I wasn't in on this when I was a kid because I've been watching this. And I sat down and watched the first episode. And I was like, what? Where's the hospital? I was so thoroughly confused. And then when I finally, after like 2 episodes in, I started getting, because I started with Christopher, with the Ninth Doctor. And so I was very befuddled for a while. And about 2 or 3 episodes in, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I like. A sci-fi, fantasy, time-traveling, type thing. And
all wibbly-wobbly.
Timey-wimey, yeah. And so I was just like, how did I have this so wrong? It was like a little off here, but did anybody ever see the movie Tintin or read the comics or something? See, my girlfriend's a huge fan. She's from Zimbabwe, and Tintin is huge over there. They watched the cartoon, read the comics as a kid. And I just assumed because of Ren Tintin, Tintin was the dog, right? So I'm like, we're watching the Steven Spielberg movie, and I'm 20 minutes into the film, right? Kind of barely paying attention. And I'm like, why the why are they following the dude around? When is the dog going to start solving mysteries? Because I assume, yeah, there you go. Because I assume pretty much any movie is always something solving mysteries. That's what I just boil anything down to. Which Doctor Who is. There's a lot of times he's solving mysteries. But once again, so it was same thing. I was on the totally wrong track and then had to jump back on. So when did each of y'all get into Doctor Who? Caitlin, how long have you been in?
Not really that long. My friends were really into it. I guess. I think I remember watching some of like 9 when they were first airing at my friends and going, this is interesting. But nothing that made me go, that's what's missing in my life.
Yeah.
But my husband and I moved to Spain, and we never got television while we were there because we didn't think we were going to stay as long as we did. And one of my visits home, a friend just gave me all the Doctor Who that he had, which was everything up until like in 2010. So at that point, that's a good.
Are you talking about
5 seasons
You're talking about from
New
Doctor
stuff.
9,
Just,
so
yeah,
nothing from like
9 forward.
Unearthly Child and on. Okay.
Yeah, like he had old stuff too, but he's like, here's all of the new. Just start with this, and that was my television in Spain, just watching and watching Doctor Who and Doctor Who. And my husband watched with me for a while, and then he's like, so he understands.
It's so weird because I thought Tony would like that, but yeah, he's just not.
I thought he was enjoying it too, but whatever. It's cool. It's my thing.
You got me.
That's
We're
fine.
next door neighbors. This will work.
Yeah, it's all good. So that's
my girlfriend likes it. I don't know what's wrong with your husband.
I don't know. So that's how it started for me because that's all that I had. I'm like, TV was Doctor Who for like a year.
All I had was Netflix. We didn't have cable at the house, so when I stumbled on that, it was like nice 4 seasons. I can just watch all the way through.
Yeah, and when
James, how did you get
we
started?
moved home, that's what I did.
This
also.
man right here brought me in. He said, "Oh, you've got to watch this," and I said, "Okay." And then I watched it, and I'm absolutely hooked.
It's interesting that you took on his accent for just a moment. I imagine now James being like, "I'd like a burrito," and a talker just always conglomerating the accent or whatever he's doing. So Chris got you into it.
Well, I started when I was 2. I remember.
See, that's awesome.
Playing with some trains and watching Daleks on the television, and then.
Were you hiding behind the couch?
Yes, I was.
I very much was. Back in I just learned that that's a phrase, and I actually heard it in a Mr. Bean episode. I'm like, oh, I know that. That was so cool.
That was actually a real thing. And then, of course, it got cancelled a couple of years later. And I remember that it had a really bad reputation around that time.
Yeah. Because it had gone campy, whereas before it had started where very much like a Twilight Zone, like if anybody has seen the first episode of Unearthly Child, one of my actual favorites. It's a drama. It's very serious. It has to do with people being murdered and sacrificed and fire, and it's a
some
very
cavemen.
That one's going through and taking you into the world of the Aztecs and
oh, the Aztecs was a good one too. Yeah,
there's an episode called The Tribe of Gum, and there's some cavemen, and the Doctor and his party encounter these cavemen, and these cavemen beat the ever living shit of out of the
What's that spell?
It's the internet, dude. There's no FCC license.
These cavemen beat the ever living shit out of the Doctor and his companions, and they have to run away.
Seen that one. Okay.
Tribe of Gum. Yeah.
Well, I own actually every episode because the internet allows me to legally obtain everything I want.
There's a scene. This is the famous scene that they talk about a lot. They save this one caveman who the other cavemen have just basically beaten to a pulp, and they're dragging him along, and they're being chased by other cavemen. And the Doctor looks over and picks up a rock. And Ian says, that's his companion at the time, says, "What are you doing?" And he says, "This man is holding us up, and he's going to bash the caveman's head in." And Ian has.
And which
to
is
tell
the
him
first
not to.
Doctor? Is this William Hartnell?
Hartnell, yes. Yeah. William Hartnell. He says, "Well, okay," and he drops the rock and isn't going to do it. But yeah, it's really. I'm like, you're staring at it for a moment, going, "Is this Doctor Who?"
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the one. Let's go ahead and keep going with where everybody started. But I can't wait to jump into how the character has changed. Shade, how did you get started?
Actually, the first time I ever encountered any of the Doctor Who episodes was on my grandfather's satellite. Now, I grew up in Southwest Wisconsin, so you might have caught it on PBS, and that's if we could actually get PBS that particular day on over the air TV. So when my grandfather got satellite, I'm sitting there, I'm like going through, I'm like, hey, that's sci-fi.
Yeah.
So that was the first time that I really encountered it, but didn't get to watch it a whole lot then. And then I've had some friends back while I was in the military and stuff like that were very into Doctor Who. One of them was very proud of his TARDIS key and stuff like that. And then when it came back, of course, thanks to the joys of the internet, once again, I'm like going through and looking for my programs.
Pirate Bay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Going through looking for my programs, and I'm like, ooh, new stuff. Download.
Yeah.
and so right from the start of 9 through, and that kind of encouraged me to go back and grab all the old stuff and try and catch up on it a bit too.
To me, here's what's interesting. I started on Christopher and Dr. Nine, and I watched like 2 episodes, and I was like, this is okay. I'm enjoying it, but I started skipping around because my theory was if it's a show about time travel, theoretically I should be able to watch any episode in any order, right? They can't bust my balls over that because if there's too much of a storyline from watching in order, they're not doing a good job of time traveling, So I ended up jumping around. One of the ones I happened to stumble on was the Pandorica Opens. And that was like one of the best written things I've seen on television in a while. And then, of course, that was the first part, and the second part was it The Big Bang. That's right. Yeah. And those two together absolutely solidified that I was a Doctor Who fan. When he runs into himself, and the humor that comes along with it. When it starts with him popping in and out with the mop and the fez, and then later in the story, you get how that worked in, and you're like, these guys are really spending a good chunk of time with some good writing. They're dedicating themselves to it, and Stephen Moffat really does a fantastic job of understanding not what the character has been, but how he could be continuously changing. What's interesting for me is the Doctor's almost the opposite of how every norm person goes. They go from being childish and immature to, you get older, you get more aged, and you do get more wise, but you always get a little more curmudgeon-y. Doctor Who started curmudgeon-y, and with one exception of getting older, his character has always gotten younger every time he regenerates. So he always regenerates a little bit younger than he was before. And to me, he becomes more whimsical, more playful, more understanding of human, more kid-like, but yet still maintains the wisdom of how it. And I've always liked that he's almost a Benji Button. He's got the Benji Button disease, only, not. But that was always one of my favorite things about Doctor Who. So what do you think about the fact that he it's almost like going in reverse for him?
What about them? They didn't say when
I'm
they
going
started.
to. We're still going.
Right.
But I was just on that. What is?
He's being timey-wimey. And
that's right, wibbly wobbly.
Yeah. It's appropriate for this show.
This is the one we can get. And by the way, after the show, I'm going to chop it up in editing and randomly rearrange every 3 minutes. So this will totally be
great.
So
we're not Time Lord style.
Yeah, I am.
Speak for yourself.
As long as I'm sitting on editing, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, since Caitlin's so concerned about it, Jen, how did you get into Doctor Who?
Okay, well, I was kind of a lame.
Quell her fears.
Yeah, I was kind of a lame college student, and instead of partying on Friday nights, I'd watch sci-fi shows like Stargate and Farscape. And they started advertising this show called Doctor Who, and I was like, this looks really interesting. So my first episode was the new one with Christopher Eccleston, and I thought he was awesome, kind of curmudgeonly.
Do you think that because I'm assuming your ethnic is Asian, do you think it would make your parents happy that you were watching a show about doctors, that you could tell them you were watching this, you would make them prouder than if you're watching Farscape?
They think they associate it with sci-fi because they walked in.
So they already know.
Yeah, they walked in and they're like, "What is this crap?" And that's kind of like how my friends reacted. So I was kind of a closet Doctor Who fan for a while because they didn't like it. And then one of my roommates went to England and was like, I understand why you like this show.
I had no idea that it was such a prevalent force over there that, the TARDIS is recognized, now worldwide, but over there it's just absurdly ridiculous. I didn't know that Daleks were in everything. I was watching Mr. Bean, the Christmas episode the other day, and he's playing with little baby Jesus, and a Skeletor comes in, and then he has a Dalek shoot up the manger, and I was like, whoa, Carol, get in here, look at this. So I just didn't understand how prevalent that was, the phone booth, the call box, and the Dalek especially, were really, because the Doctor's changed visually, while the TARDIS, oddly enough, has remained, even though gone through some design changes, the Daleks and the same for 50 years now. And it's interesting that you have a show where the main character, the protagonist, changes visually. All the companions change. So the only two things people latch onto visually are the call box and the Daleks, which people seem to love. And I just was amazed by how prevalent that was over there.
The equivalent is probably Star Trek. I mean, that's the only thing you can.
There you go. Yeah.
And the thing that hasn't changed in Star Trek is the shape of the Enterprise, sort of.
Yeah,
Except
there you
for
go.
now they're doing stuff, but the shape of the Enterprise stayed from old Star Trek to new Star Trek.
Right.
The Enterprise looks similar.
Similar.
you know?
Right.
And
Very much
the
so.
costumes are similar. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. It's over here. It was
You got
Star
black
Trek.
pants, a red shirt, and a little button.
And
you're
and
gold.
you're flying around the universe
Yeah.
in the captain's chair, you know. But the equivalent is that. I mean, it's also like, you know, Star Wars, you know, Jedis and
Right.
you know, stormtrooper like things, and yeah. But it's huge. That's their Star Wars. That's their Star Trek, you know, and they love it.
Katie, how did you get into it?
My story is actually very interesting. I grew up in kind of a sci-fi home. My mother and her friends and even my father all loved Star Trek and Star Wars and Babylon 5. And Doctor Who was on PBS a lot in the 90s, late at night. So my mother would record it on videotape, and she'd have me watch it because she always stressed
I like your
shows
mother.
that
This is what I'm going to do for my kids.
she hated violence. She hated violence in cartoons, violence in TV. She loved Doctor Who because he always solved problems with his brain, never with his fists. Even as far back as John Pertwee, he was my first doctor.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And Joe Grant was my first companion, though my childhood hero is Sarah Jane Smith, of course. And so I've always had that growing up as kind of just the building blocks of my foundation in sci-fi. But I didn't get into it until it started in Britain in 2005 with Eccleston. And my brother has always been a huge fan of Doctor Who, and he sent me the episode Dalek when that first aired. And he's like, I remember you liked Doctor Who when you were a kid and you loved the Daleks. You're always so scared of them. But watch this. This gives you really good perspective on the Daleks. And we watched it together, just, you know, chatting online because he lives really far away now. But I fell in love
the
with...
moon or a little closer? So if it's not the moon, I'm not impressed, to be honest.
I was in Texas at the time. He was back home in Jersey, so it was far away. But
The original Jersey or New Jersey?
New Jersey.
Okay, because there
Yeah.
is that's why it's called New, because I thought maybe he was in Old Jersey.
Well, you never know. He travels.
I just want to clarify for the people at home. I don't want anybody...
You know, but we watched it together. We had like a bonding moment. Ever since then, I've just been a huge fan. But I actually got super into it with the when they introduced the Master again at the end of season 3.
The casting was great for that, by the way. I love
John
it.
Sim.
Yeah.
Oh, John Sim. I got really into it then. I had a bunch of friends who got into it then, and we wrote stories. We just came up with all this crazy stuff. The Master for the longest time was my favorite character of all time. Even, you know, the old Master, the new Master is my favorite character ever.
Very nice.
So great.
Well, let's start back around. I want to know everybody's favorite doctor. I'll go last so that I can be right. But Caitlin, who's your out of all of them? We'll even consider number 8 the movie doctor, which I can't for the life of me because he's only one thing, and that's the one thing I haven't seen. Who is it?
Paul McGann.
Paul McGann. He's the one I can never remember. But who's your favorite? And let's not include any of the people that have portrayed him in parodies. Or let's go with the 11 doctors. So who's your favorite?
Well, I have to preface it by saying I still haven't seen any of the older stuff.
I promise I will get
sorry.
you. I will get you some of the
Not
older
that I
stuff.
don't want to. I do want to. I just haven't. So of the 3 that I know, 10. 10 is my favorite. It's still my favorite.
So Tenet.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll always be 4.
4, really?
Tom Baker.
Tom Baker was
Tom
great.
Baker.
You know, one of my favorites from Tom Baker is written by Douglas Adams. The what is the Pirate Planet, where the planet emerges around other planets, and that's kind of got me hooked on because that's back when it was a little campy. They were kind of going through different iterations, and it just hit that tongue-in-cheek playfulness BBC radio camp that was so great, and it just matched up so perfectly. And Tom Baker really had that absurdity down a little more than where well, Eccleston I think kind of pulled it back to reality, and Tenet and Matt have been a little more wonky on it. But Baker had down the absurdity of the long scarf that even drug on the ground, the candy all the time, you know? Yeah. So, Chris, what's your favorite?
One big pocket full of candy.
Yeah, I know. It's like a TARDIS in his pockets, essentially. Is what it's in.
Well, Time Lord, yeah.
Thank you.
My favorite doctor is Pat Troughton, the second one, because he basically provided the mold that basically the rest of the doctors after him sort of followed.
Because by just compared to Hartnell, serious, completely played the Doctor as a very serious, overbearing. interesting enough, on the very first episode, they establish he's a grandfather. And so I think people now who are like, oh, he's this Time Lord with no attachment, he's the last one traveling around. You forget that right off the bat, he's established as having a lineage, and he has a family that he comes from. Family. He has a granddaughter in the very first episode, And so it's interesting that, of course, the second Doctor completely rewrote the character with the whimsy and everything like that, which almost, I think, set the gamut for the two different Doctors, or for the Doctor styles.
Right, exactly, and that's basically where it comes from. I mean, I think the fourth Doctor said it best, is what's the point in being an adult if you can't be childish sometimes?
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, if you can't have dessert for dinner, you're not really an adult.
Yeah, you're not doing it right.
The interesting thing is that there are some distinctive parallels between, as you say, Hartnell and Troughton. Hartnell's battle-hardened from something that's happened. We don't know what it is. And when he becomes Troughton, he has let go. He's learned to love again, and learned to. And then that's also what happened to Eggleston. Eggleston is battle-hardened from the Time War, and then he transforms into Tennant, and Tennant is fun.
Well, no, and that's true, and I like that because that gamut is set nearly right off the bat. I mean, Hartnell was on there for quite a long time, but once you even got into the second Doctor, now you have this range that any of them can feel free to pick and choose from. And in the short time crash, when 11 is talking to 7, I believe, right?
5.
5. I always just refer to him as
10 is talking to 5.
Celery Doctor, yeah. And anyway, there's that maybe 3 minutes of fanboy adoration where he's like, the glasses. I wear these because you used to wear these, and the tick and the laugh.
I got that from you.
I got that from you. Where you go up high at the end and you get really excited. And it's interesting that the actors have taken from other actors that have portrayed the character. Shade, what's your favorite Doctor?
Oh, I like so many for different reasons.
Wrong answer.
Trying to get through and choose just the one that I like the best. Well, I like 10 from the new, and probably it's a combination of 3 and 4 from the old. But,
okay.
And because the Pertwee has a seriousness about him that I kind of like. He's not afraid. He's not completely like super battle hardened or anything like that, but he's got a seriousness mostly because he's been exiled.
Yeah.
So he's very serious and wanting to prove himself. Some people refer to it as the chip on his shoulder, but I mean, hell, if you've been exiled, you might have a bit of a chip on your shoulder. So
Well, I talked to my good friend Napoleon Bonaparte, and he told me, it'll do that to you. So.
Yeah. And Baker had a lot of opportunity for a lot of fun stuff, and just being running on that whimsical, but still taking into some of that seriousness. So, kind of like those, and then 5 was fine. I really didn't like the attitude of 6, but
no, I can understand that. Jen, what was your favorite?
Well, for a while I used to say Tennant because I really liked that balance of whimsy, and he angst so well. I love angsty guys, and that was it.
And I gotta admit, the costume killed it for me because I was like, man, I could see that was a super hip costume. Where Eccleston, I was like, I don't quite get the
I'm
jacket.
I love Eccleston's style, and I'm like,
I would never wear Baker out on the street. You know what I mean? Or really Hartnell.
You're lost.
But I could see, but I could see walking around. And I probably couldn't pull off Smith either with the bow tie, and
because you're not a hipster.
Even if I had the mop and the fez, which I think is like still my favorite.
Well, now he's got like the tailcoat and the waistcoat, and
love that.
I don't. It'll have to grow.
But I mean, I love the boots, the suspenders, and it's always so eclectic. But I thought Tennant, between the hair, the nice suit with the long tie, and then the kicks at the bottom, I thought just totally rounded out, just made it just enough awkward that's something I could see the Doctor truly being like when I imagined him. So I thought, obviously, it wasn't Tennant, it was the wardrobe. I'm assuming it's a lady because they like clothes, right? But I'm assuming it's the wardrobe. But I thought they did just a great job with the costuming on Tennant. Although I think his portrayal is a little
It's
better?
the acting. For me, it's the acting. I didn't realize you're supposed to say why we like them.
Oh, no, well, you totally
So
can.
I just went 10, and then everyone kept going.
Okay, well, what's the reason?
Oh, I didn't mean to
Okay.
cut off Jen. No, really, it's the part of the reason I love the show so much is because of the acting and because of the pool of fabulous British actors that you get to see, just different people. We don't see those folks on television every day over here. So, but he just really took it up another notch, and I just respect him anyway as an actor. And
He's doing
I think
Hamlet
it
now.
brought-
his Hamlet was
again
Was amazing with
So-
Jean-Luc Picard, which I honestly thought they should have kept the character Jean-Luc Picard as, rather than have Patrick Stewart play it. But you can't always get what you want. Like, I'd love to watch Jean-Luc Picard in Doctor Who as Hamlet. That's what I think the world is missing.
Actually, didn't he do Hamlet on Next Generation at some point in time?
Oh, that's right, because he's actually that's the meme that's so famous.
They were going through and playing it on the holodeck, so and he was being Hamlet,
Yeah.
So it who knows? It might have been Jean-Luc Picard doing it.
I think that, like, watching Eccleston, it was fun. Like, I like the show. This is definitely a show that I'm into now. This is cool. And then I knew he was going to change, and there was going to be another doctor. I'm like, okay, this is weird. What's going on? But then it's like they raised the bar as far as acting is concerned.
I think so,
and
too.
with every consecutive season, it just keeps getting better and better.
Jen?
So actually going back, because now I'm introducing my boyfriend, who I refer to as my real life companion, because
That's adorable.
I drag him everywhere, literally. We
it's
started,
so and she sticks him in costumes.
Yeah, I
It's
was like,
here-
he
you're dressing
is
like
now
this.
officially my companion.
Nice.
But I got him started with Eccleston, and just revisiting that made me realize how much I love like that hardness that Eccleston has. So like lately, he's been my favorite because just going back to that, we call him the action doctor just because he's
Yeah, he kind of is,
like
yeah.
very practically and has that like hard war hero vibe, and just he was really cool and very different from the other doctors.
Yeah. Never threaten a guy when his back is against an elevator. And he
And
just
very
steps
different.
into the
And it's a very
elevator.
different thing to see Chris Eccleston do, especially here in the States.
So I haven't
We've
seen him do
normally
anything
seen
else.
him as like, I'm kind of scary and tough and interesting looking, and when he's the doctor, he's creepy because he's smiling.
Yeah,
like,
that
laughing.
smile
You're
is-
like, that is unnerving. You're
Katie-
not supposed to do that.
Katie, who's your favorite doctor?
Well, of the new series, of course.
Don't
my-
say George Clooney.
My new series, my favorite will always be 9 because I also love the hardened, fresh from the war. There's a lot in his mind, but he's trying to get past it, and I can kind of relate to that. But as for my favorite doctor, while I have a soft spot for John Pertwee, my favorite's actually Colin Baker.
Really? Now that's interesting because I don't hear Colin Baker from a lot of people.
It's because everyone always wants to humanize the doctor. They want him to be relatable. They want him to be like a love interest and everything else. And Colin Baker, as 6, he is just so alien. He is so pompous and arrogant, and he knows he's a Time Lord. He is better than everyone else around him, and he's not afraid to let you know
and
it.
he's a bit twisted.
Yeah.
Especially to start with, but,
And he just doesn't give a crap. And that's what I love about him. I love watching his episodes. I love how he, especially in just his companions, like he's very different with Perry than he is with Mel. And you can see just the change in his character. Like Perry, he was very strong and very hard. It's like, I am a Time Lord, you're human, I want nothing to do with you. But he really warmed up to Mel. And I thought that was very interesting, the way he kind of, she's all like, carrot juice, come on, doctor, let's go have fun. I'm so perky. He's like, no, okay, fine. I'll drink the carrot juice.
I think people conveniently forget Eggleston bitching Rose out in
Oh,
a couple of
yeah.
episodes
Oh,
where he
yeah.
called her an
Yeah.
ape, a dumb ape, and then he said,
That is nice.
I mean, there's a darkness in Eggleston, which is I'm with her on that. See, the thing is, Colin Baker had a lot against him. They were going to cancel the show. They were, trying to destroy it, and they were talking about he was going to start with that doofy coat, and then his character was going to change from unlikable to slightly likable, and we never got to see it. And the interesting thing about Eggleston too is he quit. David Tennant finishes it for us. David Tennant finishes the transformation for us, but it would be nice to see another season of Eggleston to see what he would have done with that, because he would have been like Colin Baker. Really.
And I gotta say, Eccleston, people have been seeing the interviews with the 50th anniversary special. What he's been saying has absolutely been breaking my heart. with the fact that he just has no desire to return anymore. He doesn't want to be part of it. And no one knows exactly what went down between
they've
him
kind
and
of
the
kept that.
BBC. But I think, it would be so great, even if he just had a cameo or something, because people forget
Well, they can
that
always
he's the doctor.
Well, how many
He was
times
the
have they done the
doctor.
2 doctors, the 3 doctors, the 4? There's plenty of times that they could get, Tennant or how many of them are living now? I mean,
Yeah, everybody wants Tennant to come back. Everyone's excited Tennant to come back, and I'm like, but Eccleston's the one who brought the show back. Why?
Yeah.
And the thing that I really want to see is that we've seen every single regeneration so far except 8 to 9. Even
Now,
if
that
he
would
just
be pretty
came
interesting.
back for
Begging
them
for
to
that.
shoot that would be wonderful. But he just wants no part of it, and it's so sad.
So I think my favorite is, and I know this is almost the easy one. I love Tennant. I love his portrayal, and I love how much the fanboy it is, because there's every single part of his portrayal is also part of some doctor before him. I mean, he takes from Hartnell, he takes from Pertwee, he has studied that character for so long. It's known that he was a fanboy, used to get in trouble in school and get sent to detention for playing Doctor Who in class. And so I think he better than anyone. Did you not know that he was absolutely a Doctor Who fan from like the age of like 4, and he used to get in trouble for it all the times. He'd written scripts for it when he was a kid.
Adorable.
And so when he became the Doctor, I mean, for him that was my mean. But here's a man who I think better than any other person understood the entirety of the character. Now,
And probably what it meant to portray him.
right, because
what
here's
it
somebody
meant
who wanted to be
fans.
him for so long that I now inhabit this body. It almost is like now I'm the new generation. Like the regeneration. Now I inhabit this body of all these other personalities I saw him. And so I think for him, the character was deeper than any other character portrayal that I've seen. I like Matt Smith better only because I can't stop laughing half the time at his portrayal of the Doctor, just the whimsy. But when he stands up on the rock and calls down all the Doctor's enemies, and the Big Bang, and he's just throwing it out there that he'll destroy everyone, and the anger sometimes that he can get when he's really upset with somebody personally or the world in general, and then just his smile. And I'll never forget when I think I first started liking him was where he meets Amy Pond, and she gives him an apple, and his portrayal of the heat stamp was like, right, no apples, okay, no apples. Just that delivery of he immediately caught the I'm getting used to a new mouth. What does he say? New mouth, new rules. And I was like, well, okay, he's got the humor. Like, dime. I think my second though is William Hartnell. I think that to see that other extreme of, because I grew up on the Outer Limits. And so I love a good, serious, episodic drama. Demon with a Glass Hand, or some of the amazing classics that the pig face people, and the Doctor. So I always loved the seriousness of those episodic sci-fi type things, and I didn't always feel they needed the jokes and the silliness. So watching like Unearthly Child to me or The Aztecs or something, it's just like mind-blowingly great that I get a continuous character all the way through all these stories that would normally be the Outer Limits or something like that. You get to see how the same. It's almost like they said, "Hey, let's let the same guy do all the Outer Limits or all the Twilight Zones," and you get to see how he changes and deals with all of that. And so I think for that, Hartnell just had an amazing, abrasive, grumpy. God, did you want to punch that guy in the face so many times? And that's because he embraced that character. It was just so totally different. To have a grandchild that he yelled at, he just shows her no respect. He treats everybody like they're idiots. The whole time. So, but those are mine too. Well, I tell you what, we're gonna have to take a quick break. We're gonna run the Cosmic Herald This Week in Comics, of course, brought to you by Cosmic Comics. We're gonna come back, and we're going to talk about everybody's favorite episode.
Oh my gosh! Well, I'm glad we have a few minutes to think of it.
Of General Hospital. That's the that's the twist. So get them ready, folks. Guys, you're watching the DELoL show on Deep Ellum on Air. This is going to be the Cosmic Herald from Cosmic Comics, giving you the week in comics. James Dyer, of course, one of the sponsors of the show. And after that, you're going to get a little bit of the free comic book day. Don't forget May 4th. At Keith's Comics for Free Comic Book Day. And next week, we're going to be out at Roll to Play, another official sponsor of the show, the board game store. They're amazing. So make sure you check out rolltoplay.com, cosmiccomic.com, keithscomics.com, and of course, the DELoLshow.com. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. Thanks.
Alter ego, now they leave your butt behind the mask. I took the track like a freak, throw pocket dirty cash. You try to catch me, but I move like that dude flash behind the music. in your mind when the VH wonder past your wet phase. Well, it's not helping you. A track major on is truly what you're running through. It's only third of me in a hurry, but most
Hello out there, welcome to Cosmic Herald Reviews, comics for the week of April 17th, 2013. My name is Jason. Thanks for tuning in, especially if you're coming in from the DELoL show. Some things that we're going to talk about. Let's go ahead and take a minute for the local lick. The local lick, where we talk about what's going on in Grand Prairie, Dallas, Fort Worth, stuff like that. Specifically, some things coming up at the shop. Cardfight Vanguard players. We've got team tournament qualifiers coming up on April 20th at 4 o'clock. Magic the Gathering players. We've got Dragon's Maze pre-release coming up on April 27th and on 28th. And we'll have the midnight tournaments, also the 1 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday. Look forward to some information on pre-registration this time. We're going to have limited space. We're going to try and make the best of it, even despite the extra floor space that we've got in the shop now. Let's see, what else have we got coming your way? Oh, that's right. Free Comic Book Day is coming up, May 4th. I've been talking a lot with most of you guys out there that come by the shop about the 30th anniversary, celebrating Mike's achievement with Cosmic Comics. Come on out. We usually grill out for folks. We'll have Costume Crusaders, all that good stuff. Look around for some descriptions and extra information in the page over here. Also, we'll have the cast from the DELoL show coming out for a live broadcast on May 12th. We're really looking forward to that one. I think that about covers it for the local link there. This week we're going to talk about Doctor Who Prisoners of Time, issue number 4, the one starring Tom Baker, or Tom Baker's incarnation of the Doctor, I should say. We're going to talk about Savage Wolverine number 4, Frank Cho's Pulp Fiction awesomeness. We're going to talk about Nova, issue number 3, Wolverine by Cornell, issue number 2, and also Superior Spider-Man number 8. I'm hooked, you are too. Let's talk about it. Alright, so my first book to review this week is going to be Doctor Who Prisoners of Time, issue number 4, starring the 4th Doctor, also known as the Tom Baker Doctor, one of the most popular Doctors that are in the Doctor Who universe. For those of you that don't know, the Prisoners of Time storyline or title offered by IDW is supposed to incorporate stories from all of the Doctors, It's pretty cool because in the first issue I read, it was kind of campy. Wasn't too sure if I was going to enjoy it. I got to the last page of it and it kind of redeemed itself and explained that it was trying to capture the essence of the time from which these stories were pulled. So, for example, this is going to read like your typical comic book out of 1977, 1978, when Tom Baker was running this as the Doctor, the 4th Doctor. He's got companions Leela and K9 also come to the forefront as companions for the Doctor in 1977. And if you don't know, Leela is kind of like, strangely kind of like Leela from Futurama, I guess you could say. She's like the space Shayna. Her story is that she was it's weird because they describe her as a primal person prone to violence, but also super future-y and able to understand quick concepts like time travel, etc., etc. It's a good read. There's an awesome recap that is done in a different style. The previous 3 issues had just a couple paragraphs from maybe the writer or the editor at the time that told you what was happening kind of in a time capsule format for that specific Doctor's character at that time. This one it looks like a fan magazine. It's awesome, actually. It really reminds me of the 70s and 80s fan magazines where you have a pseudo overlay of photographs and like editor bubbles and thought bubbles, etc., etc. It's a good read. Check it out. I think that what we're going to find is there's a tie-in to the Shakri, the Boogeymen of Gallifrey, in The Power of 3 in season 7. We first meet this guy who looks kind of like the Emperor from Star Wars. He explains how super awesome he is, that he is ubiquitous. He exists through all space and all time, and damn it, he's going to get the Doctor. So what we're seeing, I think, is this guy going through time and yanking the companions out of existence. So we're in 4 issues now. I'm not 100% sure that's what's going on, but this dude definitely looks like a Dark Lord of some kind. He kind of fits that description of the cloaked old man doing bad things with blue electrical jujus. So stay tuned. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be awesome to see the storyline of this comic book tie in with the actual show as we see it unveil this story with the Shakri. That'll wrap it up for our IDW Doctor Who Prisoners of Time, issue number 4, featuring Tom Baker as the Doctor. This week's second book is Savage Wolverine, issue number 4 by Frank Cho. It is a continuation of awesomeness in my book. This book really epitomizes comedy, action, dinosaur guts. It's got everything I really want to see happening. And also, okay, so we've got a few folks on the island showing up in the Savage Land, right? We've got Wolverine, we got Shayna the She-Devil, and we've also got this character Amadeus Cho, who's like some kind of super advanced technological guy. I'm sure that you guys can find that information somewhere. Amadeus Cho, this guy's pretty groovy. They're all on the island. They're all trying to figure some things out. Miscommunications occur, and we find ourselves with a dead heroine. Enter the teaser right on the cover there is the resurrection of Man-Thing. So some of you may not know who or what that is all about. Have no fear. Marvel Augmented Reality application has got your back. Moving into the second page. You've got a panel there with Man-Thing and Augmented Reality, and it cues up the entire background of the Man-Thing as a Marvelite would know it now.
Long ago, Dr. Theodore Salas was employed by the U.S. government to create a new version of the super soldier serum, the chemical compound that transformed Steve Rogers into Captain America. Salas eventually cracked the formula, but it was suddenly overcome with a pang of guilt because of the death and destruction that the serum could cause in the wrong hands. He destroyed all but one sample, which he intended to give to his government contact, Hamilton. However, upon arrival at the meeting site, Salas discovered that Hamilton had been killed, and his lover, Ellen Brandt, had betrayed him.
So moving on from the character background, you still have this awesome sense of timing, these panels that just float and flow with the motion and the action of what's happening in the book there. And I have to admit, I honestly did chuckle out loud at a couple of the stings, the zingers back and forth between Shayna and Wolverine, and I did not really expect that to happen considering I knew the book was set up to be that way. So even knowing what to expect, I still got an actual real life, real world LOL. I think it's worth your money. Check it out. Augmented Reality is beautiful.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm here to tell you, with Zach, about the brand new Nova series. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Nova Issue 2. I don't know about Nova Issue 3. I haven't read it, but I'm sure it's going to be just PG. Marvel now!
And as you can see, that's our third book, Nova Issue number 3. It's worth noting that I think this is one of the Marvel Now titles that has a really strong example of what augmented reality can really offer you. As you can see over here, we've got Scott Wacker doing a question and answer session with one of the, quote, behind the scene at Marvel's guys. Take a look at it and you'll know what I'm talking about. You could probably find it on YouTube pretty soon. Otherwise, check it out with the book in your phone, man. Our fourth book this week is Paul Cornell's take on Wolverine and Wolverine issue number 2. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on there. I think Wolverine's been shot by a death-initiating laser probably 6 or 7 times now. It's just a second issue. What's going on? There's some type of an intelligence that's taken over. It looks like anybody it wants to, and it's got a hard-on for Wolverine, and it's trying to figure out what it takes to make him die. There's a lot of moral implicitudes going on there. Cornell's taking some liberties trying to give you the humanity of Wolverine and show you to which extent he's able to do things. The book overall is a good read. There's great action. The artwork does well to illustrate what can happen if you get shot by a death laser. Let's talk about the augmented reality that comes along with this title. What are the, let's see, I made a note. Let's find out what my, yes, my official note is awkward smoothie conversation time with a very large-breasted woman. Yeah, enough said.
Hello, I'm Peter Parker. My body, my brain, has been taken over by Dr. Otto Octavius. He's pretending to be me, to be Spider-Man, and he's done horrible things. Beaten villains and pranksters. Even killed a man. Otto recently went after this guy Cardiac, who's barely a supervillain. More like a rogue doctor with superpowers.
What you're watching right now is the cover recap for Superior Spider-Man number 8, Marvel Augmented Reality. This book shows what happens when you steal from Dr. Octopus when he has Peter Parker's body. Cardiac has successfully ran away with the neurolytic scanner, converter thingy, helmet, magic helmet. He has the magic helmet and Doc Ock wants it back. So we see Peter Parker, Ghost Parker, take control and prevent certain things again. We finally see the Avengers threaten to kick him out. The all right, buddy, you're on probation conversation takes place. And then Doc Ock finds out about Ghost Parker. And that's pretty cool. So here we are, guys, 8 issues in. They're aware of each other. Let's see what happens. As far as augmented reality and what this issue has to offer, the cover recap is amazing because it's told in that first-person perspective of Peter Parker. And it seems to be true to form. At the end of the book, there is an actual letters to the editors read by Ellie Pyle, assistant editor for the book. And she answers about 5 or 6 letters, and it's pretty entertaining. She's easy on the eyes. And it's really good. That's what the augmented reality should give you, is this sense of being directly connected to the creative team. So that's it for the Weekend Comics for April 17th, 2013. My name is Jason with Cosmic Herald Reviews, brought to you by Cosmic Comics at Grand Prairie, Texas. Please subscribe to us at youtube.com, Cosmic Herald Reviews. Check us out on Facebook at Cosmic Herald, also at Cosmic Comics at Grand Prairie, Texas.
I'm so sick and it's smitten when I kick the righteous, that's my winnings.
Guys, we're back with Cosplay Gallifrey here, and I want to start by asking, of course, like I said before, we're going to go into the break, I want to know everybody's favorite episode of Doctor Who. So, now I know this is going to be hard, and it doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all, you know, but let's pick, for instance, let me put it this way, if you had to pick one to put into a vault, you know, it doesn't have to be the best one ever, you know, it doesn't have to be your personal, but if you had to throw one into a vault, or make your kid watch, you know, maybe not to get them into it, because, you know, that may be the easiest thing to watch, but what's something if you had to, let's say, put a Doctor Who, I assume in the future Tombstones will have iPads that play video after you're dead as opposed to having that. So if you got to pick if people said, look, now that you die, you get to pick what plays on your tombstone for people to watch, what's the one that you would pick to throw up there, Caitlin?
I have to start.
By the way, I need to trademark that idea. That's a pretty good idea.
Well, these fine fellows will have to help me with episode titles because I don't remember them.
Yeah, I'm sure we go by plot.
And it may even be a two-parter, but The Library with
that's a great Silence in the Library.
Silence in the Library, and then the other part of it
was it Forest of the Dead?
Forest of the Dead.
Yeah, both of those.
Wow,
I just
that's
kind
so
of
much better than I could
consider them a unit because they go together.
I will say that any continuation series, like not story arcs, but if there's a part 1 and 2, we can consider those together.
Okay. Yeah, I sat here for a long time and thought about it, and I think that's it. I really love those 2 episodes, especially now when you realize the importance of it. Like at the time, it's just, oh, who's this? Oh, it's Alex Kingston. I love her. Cool. But then after, when she becomes such a pivotal character as River, like to go back and watch those episodes, it's more bittersweet and it's heartbreaking. And I'm an actor, so I just love watching them do what they do and realizing how important these moments are. And at the time, even the actors don't really know because they don't know where the series is going to go. So it makes it all the more magical. And then everything that Donna experiences, because I love her. I think she may be my favorite companion. So her kind of alternate possible life is fabulous and then heartbreaking. And it's good. It's just good. So good. I could watch it and watch it and watch
James,
it.
what's your favorite?
I think Logopolis, which is Tom Baker's last episode where he dies, and his death scene is so touching and amazing, and a lot of cool stuff happens. There's a battle between the Master and him, and it's great.
You can't ask for a better explanation of that. Chris?
It's a bit of a toss-up, really, because my favourite of the modern run is The Doctor's Wife. You know, where we've got Idris and
that was the other one I was going to say.
Yeah, that was great episode.
Now let's run over the plot of that one real fast again. That's the one with obviously River. So I'm sorry.
That's wife is Idris. Where the heart and soul of the TARDIS.
That's right. That's the one written by Neil Gaiman. That's right. Okay, that's the one. That's a fantastic one too. That's actually on my list. I can't always decide if that's.
Yeah, that's definitely on my list of tops.
That's the one where they reveal the name of the TARDIS, right? Or they give the TARDIS a name.
It gets a new name.
It gets a new name, yeah.
But
which is sexy. I always like the name of the TARDIS is sexy after that.
But as far as the classic era goes, my favourite's got to be the War Games. It's a massive 10-part
that's a great
generation story, and it's the first time that the Time Lords get revealed, and they're harsh.
They're dicks.
They're really harsh. I mean, they basically used the reality bomb on a couple of criminals and just erased them completely from the timeline.
Yeah, I've only seen that one once, and I've always been like, I've got to go back and watch that arc again. You know, and one of the things I always liked about the old ones is, whereas now, you know, they do it by season, so you can have an arc and a few episodic space in between. They did it where, you know, they would do a 4 to 6 part story in each episode. So, you know, the story would be 6 hours long, you know, and you would watch 6 separate episodes. Since you haven't seen any of the old ones, basically like The Unearthly Child is a 4-part story. So you would tune in for 4 weeks to see one story unfold. Where now, of course, you have the entire season, which does contain a story arc, but you have plenty of episodics in between. This you wouldn't. If you wanted to see how if you missed one, that's it. Like you were out for that week, you know. Shade?
Well, like I said, I really like The Doctor's Wife, but one of the best parts, and of course you've got the whole season and that leads up to it, is where you end up bringing, you have the Doctor and like all the companions.
That's the other one I was going to say.
Journey's End.
Journey's End.
Yes.
And what is it? The Lost Planet? Was the other?
It's the Stolen Earth.
Stolen Earth.
There
you go. That's probably one of my favorites of the new series, mostly because it just goes through and brings everyone together.
Yeah.
And of course it's such a bittersweet, because it's such a good show overall, but right at the end it breaks your heart with Donna having to forget everything.
Yeah.
You know, and she's probably still one of my favorite companions, because she's got that mouthy, sassy bit, and she's also got that kind of down on herself attitude that just, I mean, anyone can associate with. So she's a great companion. Now, classic Who, I like the whole Key of Time arc.
I haven't seen that's one I haven't seen yet.
Let's see.
Get a lot of caffeine.
It's a real long arc.
Several episodes.
Is that the one with the introduction of the first Romana, or is that?
Yes.
Mary Tam. Okay.
Yeah, it's because that brought Romana in, and it's one of the few times when you have another Time Lord traveling with him. You know, throughout.
That's interesting. I didn't know that ever was the case. There were 2 Time Lords traveling around.
Yes.
Other than when Who meets himself, obviously.
Oh gosh, Romana.
I mean, she got to travel with him for a while and become like one of his best friends. You know.
The great thing about companions in the past is you always get a normal one, and then you get a weird one. You get a. I mean, that's what I was talking about. I was hoping that at one point we're going to get an alien again, because he would sometimes travel with an alien companion. But I think that Clara's turning out to be.
Nobody misses Canine?
Oh, I miss him immensely. I want him.
First
him
time I
back.
saw that, I was like, all right. Robot dog. I like it. It's still befuddling, though.
There's something interesting, though, that they are hinting that the character of Madame Vastra, the Silurian, might be a companion in the future.
Oh, yeah, she's cool.
She's already kind of considered one. If you look up the list of them, she's considered one.
Yeah,
she's
in.
the TARDIS.
The producers like her.
She's neat.
And Strax.
Jen, what's your favorite?
I think my favorite is Vincent and the Doctor.
That may be one of my favorites.
That is so heart-wrenching. And as a writer, just as a creative individual, to see Van Gogh be able to see like what he has accomplished after his death, that's like every creative individual's dream. And I was like sobbing because I was like, this is why I create things. Like, it was just,
to make money.
And then just like I like having Doctor Who bring in real historical figures. Like I love the Shakespeare episode.
Yeah, that was so great.
Adding all the
That
little
was another
bits.
great episode.
Katie, favorite episode?
I have actually a favorite from new and old. My favorite from the old series is City of Death, with the Fourth Doctor and Romana's second regeneration, played by Layla Ward. And it's very talky compared to most Doctor Who episodes. It's not very sci-fi, but it's just the banter between the Doctor and the villain, and the Doctor and Romana. It turns out Romana, the entire time, she knows what's going on. She is 10 steps ahead of the Doctor, and it just baffles him that, for once, his companion knows more than he does. And he's like, what's going on here? But of the new series, my favorite is actually The Girl in the Fireplace.
I love that one too.
Because
this is the best part. It's like no matter what anybody says, they're all going to be
Because if you pay attention with because when Moffat took over with Amy Pond being the girl who waited, people forget that the
That may be my
original girl who waited was Renette.
Yeah.
That whole story thing already happened with, Renette waiting for the Doctor
They
to
just
come
did
back.
it in one episode.
And it just breaks my heart that this woman, she fell in love with the Doctor. She was all ready to go, and he never came back.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so touching with Amy that he came back.
Yeah. Well, I think he learned from his mistake.
Yeah.
And we're running a little close on time, so I'm going to say mine is from the old. I can't help it. Unearthly Child. The very first, and I can even say the very first one. You meet him, you find out he has a lineage, you find out why the TARDIS is a police box, because it's broke. I like that very first episode. You just love to see this. They're in 1960s London, so the police box is using its chameleon feature to blend in, right? They travel back to caveman times. That they get kind of knocked off course, and he gets out and he presses the sonic screwdriver and goes, zzz, and nothing changes. And he goes, zzz, and it doesn't change. He's like, oh, looks like the chameleon device is broke. So like right off the bat, they established that like it's always going to be that way, and they've never changed it. And you just get so many of the introductory features that get carried on later. And then I think in the new series, it's got to be the Pandorica opens in the Big Bang. That was the first story where I really cared about the characters. That when Rory waits 2,000 years, the humor of the Fez and the broomstick, the bow ties are cool. Like that had all the little things of the new series, like wonderfully, just in a two-parter, and you had to wait between those two. And I actually, oddly enough, when I watched the first one, even though it was on Netflix, I made myself wait a week before I watched the next one because I wanted to have that angst of like everybody else had to go through. Yeah. But that to me it was the big story. It was him facing out all of the Doctor's foes, staring off into the space, the great beyond that's bigger than all of us, staring on every foe that he's ever faced. It was everything I like, about it. And so I got to say those two. But the very first one, if you haven't seen it, Unearthly Child, that first episode is just so different than everything else you'll watch. Well, real quickly, I want to go around because I only want two more questions, and so we'll make them kind of quick here. First of all, let's see, favorite companion of the Doctor. Got to make this one quick because we're running out of time.
Can I go last?
Yeah, well, you can go last. James?
Jamie McCrimmon.
Okay.
Romana, the second regeneration.
Romana, the second regeneration. Spade? Spade. Shade. James Shader.
Kind of cover that. Donna Current and Romana Old.
I'd say Donna, though I have a crush on Rose Tyler, so
I can totally understand that. Katie?
Martha for the new companions, but Joe Grant for the old one.
Okay, I would say mine probably is Amy, only because I love redheads, so that just won out. The physical just won out over everything else. And then K9, I love that dog. You can bring him in any episode. I don't understand why he's there. Don't understand what he does. Think he's the most ridiculous trite thing in the show. But I love him, and anytime he appears, I'm really happy. Real quick, now we're going to be wrapping up the show. If you could have Doctor Who crossover with any other series. Oh, favorite companion, by the way, real quick.
Maybe Rory.
Rory is
Rory.
Okay, so quick crossover with any other show.
What? I don't watch TV.
Doctor Who crosses over with anything. It can be whatever.
Adventure Time.
Okay, that's interesting. I like that. Doctor Who crosses over with who?
Star Trek.
Star Trek, I can see that.
Firefly.
I would love to watch that. Okay. We already got time. That's the music in the background telling you got to go.
Let's see. stick with the fire.
Okay, fireplace. That's fine. It's too
Not
fireplace.
a TV show, but Bill and Ted.
You know what? Oh my God, that's a great idea. Time traveling phone booth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Supernatural.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking that it would be a good one to cross over with. Oh God, I can't even think of the show name now. What's the one with the guy that face a bow in it?
Torchwood.
Yeah, they should do a crossover with that. I always thought that was
What?
good.
It
Yeah,
is.
that's right.
You're
No,
dumb.
of course it'd be Back to the Future. That's
Okay.
that's what mine would be, of course. Well, guys, you've been watching the DELoL show. Of course, we have the DFW Cosplay Gallifrey here in studio, and I wanted to say that was one of the most enjoyable talks I've had in quite a while. Caitlin, thanks for coming on the show. Caitlin
No
Glass.
problem.
Tell everybody how they can find out a little more about you.
You can visit me on Twitter, Caitlin's Voice, or Facebook, Caitlin Glass Voice Actress.
That's
or
great.
Actor.
And James, why don't you tell everybody how they can find out more
Katie,
about you guys?
What's the website, Katie?
It is DFW Cosplay Gallifrey.com.
Great.
And we're on Facebook too.
That's right. Check them out on Facebook. Of course, you've been watching the DELoL show. And you can check us out at the DELoL show or DELoLshow.com. Check us out on Facebook or Twitter. Just go to the website. It has all that junk listed because I'm kind enough to do that for you people who don't want to do it yourself. So check us out on there. Of course, make sure you tune into all the other shows on DeepEllumOnAir.com. We're going to be, of course, Free Comic Book Day. We're going to be out at Keith's Comics May 4th from 1 to 3:30. That's going to be awesome. And next week, we're at our sponsor, Roll to Play, official sponsor of the show. That's going to be freaking awesome. We're going to have so much fun. And so you're welcome to come out there and join us live out in Capel. You've been watching another perfect episode of the DELoL show. Jedi, I believe, is going to be leading us out here. And let's go ahead and end also with the Keith thing, since that's going to be coming up, because I really want everybody for Free Comic Book Day, Keith's Comics on Mockingbird. I want everybody out there, if you can make it. If you can't, hit another comic book store and pick up your free comics. And if you can, pick up the Doctor Who comic. It's actually pretty good. They need to Curb Your Enthusiasm comic. Anyway, so you've been watching another episode of the DELoL show. You're welcome. This is really good. What do you got?